Hello and welcome back to the Finish Line, proudly sponsored by Hollywood Bets and Talking Points, where we're going to go through all the big talking points of the week that was. Irish Grand National Meeting has just finished today, another huge prize winner. But yeah, we're going to, before we get on to that, did we enjoy the weekend's racing, lads?
Yeah, I thought it was good anyway. Something to watch and keep me occupied.
You must be going off your nutter.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Some good racing. I thought a very, very good performance yesterday, which we'll go on to. And enjoyed today as well. Didn't enjoy Janadil falling too much. I thought he was a certainty. But yeah, apart from that, good weekend's racing.
I had mentioned in the podcast, Tom, when you weren't here, that he'd find a way to lose. I was not confident in him. He just, I don't know. He should have won. He should have won, but he's just one of these horses that keeps coming second all the time. Or just, there you go.
Keeps running into Allaho.
Yeah, I said to Andrew, it's a race. He should be like 10 pounds ahead of everything, but he probably won't win.
And he fell. Yeah. I mean, he got well punted late on, so I think everyone saw what everybody else saw. You know, he was well ahead of that field, but unfortunately, not to be.
They're there to be jumped, not run through. Or poor Blackbow.
Yeah, shame for Blackbow. Yeah, big shame for Blackbow.
He was not good, but anyway, right. We're going to start with a bit of flat racing. We're going to go the whole way back to Wednesday and to the Craven. Where is this thing? We're going to talk about Native Trail. Came back with an ultra impressive performance in the Craven Stakes. Dave, firm favourite now for the Guineas. Is there anything there that's going to beat him? Does he look a good thing at this stage?
Look, I'm sure if you have him at decent prices, even 4 or 5 to 1, you're happy enough with the performance. But the book he shorted him to 6 to 4 is the biggest joke I ever saw in my life. Like, he was 1 to 5 or something. He was supposed to win. The horses in behind him were terrible. He beat them all as he should have beaten them. So to cut him from 4 to 1 into 6 to 4, it's just outrageous. And it's why people are giving out about anti-post betting and stuff like that. Like, how are you supposed to even have a bet if that's the case? Like, all he did was...
Well, it's gotten worse now because he's 11 to 8 now.
You would see it as a piece of work on a gallop. That's all he did.
The saw there is that he's alive and well and he's trained on. That's the only thing we've seen.
The Godolphin horse I like, Caribus, he had a gallop that morning. I'm nearly sure he got caught in price as well for just having a racecourse gallop.
He got cut from 9 to 2 into 7 to 2.
Like, it's out fucking rageous. Like, we're obviously going to go on to Perfect Power, but talk about both of them together. Native Trail is a big horse. I would worry for him if the ground got really firm, if it's like proper good to firm ground. He's very, very big, and looks like he's a bit of a knee action where he likes soft ground, which he did last year in the Curragh. That day at the Curragh, he won the national stakes. And the back end October, the Jew horse is usually not the firmest ground in the world. I think he's a really good horse. I think you see the best of him over a mile 2 and something like the Coral Eclipse. I think he definitely stayed at anyway. Perfect Power definitely won a better trial. He beat a dual Group 1 winner in it. Angel Blood's a good horse. He's definitely better on soft ground, but good horse. And Lucille has loads of good form as well. He beat those 2 horses fairly snugly, to be honest. And he'd be, to me, a better bet now if you don't have good prices on Native Trail at around 10 to 1. You don't know. They're still humming and hawing about him going for the Guineas. But to me, he looks like
who did you say there?
Huh?
Who did you say there?
Perfect Power.
All right, yeah.
To me, he looks like he'll stay. There's only 1 Guineas. He's already won 2 Group 1s last year over 6 furlongs. You may as well try. And
I
yeah,
don't think
the way he went through the line 7 furlongs and travelled, you might as well try. You can always drop back to sprint, and then he looks
yeah,
for real
obviously,
deal as a sprinter anyway.
yeah. They will probably try. To me, he has that. He's too much speed. He travels so well through his racing. He has that kick that he goes through the end. He did hit the line well there at Haydock, was it? But I just think the hill might find him out at Newmarket. I think he's an ideal 6 furlong horse. He gets 7, a mile might be stretching it, I think.
I text you about him as well. I think they need to make hay with him at the start of the season because he's quite small. By the end of the season, I reckon a lot of the 3-year-olds will have caught up with him. But 2 good colts. Aiden has a good colt. It's shaping up to be a good Guineas.
Yeah, what are you thinking about it, Tom, altogether?
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Native Trail. I have been since he won the superlative at Newmarket last year. That was on good to firm ground. He was absolutely clueless that day. It was only his second run of his life, and he just got up to beat Mascala. He came to the Curragh then on Champions Weekend and absolutely bolted up in the National Stakes. But that was a very, very good performance. That was over 7. He went back to Newmarket then for the Dewhurst over 7 and absolutely bolted up. And he's done the same here. Again, back at Newmarket. So, his form at Newmarket is very strong. That was a mile. I think he kind of tricks you, this lad. I think he's a bit like an Altior over the jumps or a Shishkin that, he comes off the bride and he finds that flat spot and then he runs on. But if you look at his pedigree is like out and out speed kind of thing. And he's by Oasis Stream out an observatory mare. There's a few mile 2 horses on the dam side, but I think he's going to be an out and out miler, and he's going to be a very, very good one. He's a massive beast of a horse. I was lucky enough to see him at the Curragh on Irish Champions Weekend, and he really is a big lad. And he's one of those you thought would train on. He has the physique to train on, and it looks like he has. I think it'd take a hell of a one to beat him in the Guineas now, to be honest.
Are they overlooking Luxembourg altogether? Like, he's a horse that impresses,
isn't he?
What?
He's a Derby horse for me. He's not going to be as forward as Native Trail, I don't feel.
Native Trail have to run under his belt to have going to him, but Aiden's are kind of hitting the ground running this season. And look,
I'm not having that anymore as well. If Aiden run him in the Guineas, he's fast enough to win the Guineas. He might stay the Derby trip. And Aiden's last few Guineas winners have all won that Racing Post Trophy race, or whatever it's called now, the back end one over a mile. Like Saxon Warrior won it, Camelot won it, and they were all good enough to be in the Guineas. So
he'd be looking at the price. He's 9-2, 5-1 in the place. He impressed me last season when he beat Sissoko at Doncaster. That was a mighty fine performance.
Yeah, strong form. And look, I said it a couple of weeks back. If he's the only one that Aiden runs, then it's a tip in itself that he thinks he's good enough to win it.
Yes.
I think he'd be running him here with a definite view to coming on and going to the Derby. The Guineas is a very good trial for the Derby, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did start him here. But for me, street worthiness wise, I think Native Trail is a little bit ahead.
Okay, right. We will touch on that more. If this mouse will bloody work properly for me. We'll touch on that more closer to the time, but we're going back over the jumps and we're going to go to Sunday. Now, this is a little sentimental one on my side. It wasn't great to see good old Mellon back to winning ways on Sunday. I want to say Sunday.
It was great. It was funny to see him going around with his ears pricked. He was just better than the horses he was racing against, and he'd come into every flight and just prick his ears. He was doing absolutely nothing in front. But I thought Brian Cooper gave him a good ride, and look, he won well. It's good to see him get his head in front. He's been well placed to do so. But fair play to him.
Yeah, he's a lovely jumper as well. He was good to watch yesterday. I see someone on Twitter, I think, saying that he's won like 560,000 in prize money as well. That's insane for a horse that hasn't won a whole lot of races. So
No, he's been a bridesmaid most of the time when he's been at Cheltenham. He's been second in 2 champion hurdles, second in the Supreme, second in the Ryanair. Look, he's a horse that you wouldn't mind owning. Look, it's just great to see horses like that actually getting their head in front. Look, he might fill him a bit of confidence, and who knows, he might turn up the Punchtown Festival. In that, like, Manila Tynes came back after his fall at Aintree. Never looked comfortable at all. He came there with a bit of an effort down the back straight, but it petered out fairly quickly again. Oh, I'm going to say it again. It's still worrying with Henry's horses. A lot of them are still doing that. Well, I think they are anyway. There's a lot. He had a few that were fancied over the weekend. A few Maiden Hurdlers. The one in the National today. They all were there coming in with a chance, and they all fell out the back of telly again. 1 or 2 are popping up, but majority are fading away.
He did have 2 bumper runners today at Cork, and one was second and one won. So they didn't run too badly.
Yeah, I say a few of them are win, but the majority of them are running like they did have all season. Like, I'm one of the biggest fans of Henry, but it's a matter of time before there has to be something questioned about it.
There has been all season, and we spoke about this today, and we actually delved into the stats of it in our group. You knock Henry all day long, and everyone seems to want to this year. It's just he can't do anything right. Even when Honeysuckle or Pluthard win, the first thing you hear is, "Usher, he's still shite." Like,
it's not
he's got a 15% strike rate, which he has all of the time. That's what he operates at.
It's not knocking him.
16%.
It's not knocking him, and it's not saying he's shit at all. It's, look, I'm the biggest fan as you are. I was all for him and still are for years. It's the way some of them are finishing. That's not to say we're not saying he's a bad trainer. We're saying there must be something up, because a lot of them are just stopping dead. They're all falling away. There's no one saying he's a good trainer.
But he's still operating at a 15% strike rate.
We're not talking about strike rates. We're not talking about
strike rate. If you're going to say all of his horses
might be something wrong with the horses, because most of them are falling away. We're not talking about he's a strike rate. We're not talking about horses being shit. We're talking about why are most of his horses, the ones some are really fancy, are falling away out the back of the telly.
Okay, but you're saying that, and some of them are. There's no doubt that some of them are falling out the back of the telly. But he's still operating at the 15% strike rate, which is his normal strike rate. Gordon Elliott has had 200 more runners than him this year and is operating at a 16% strike rate.
Yeah, but Gordon could run 6-7 horses in the same race, so you can't really equate to that.
That doesn't make up for lowering your strike rate by that much. Willie Mullins is on a 28% strike rate, which is normal for Willie, but I know I'm sick of hearing it, to be honest. It keeps going around circles. Again.
Oh, he was really sick of listening to it. Jesus, I got no idea where he went. Oh, he's really fed up. You can't write this. Hold up. Where the hell's he gone?
I didn't even get to say anything.
You can wait and he comes back. I have to text him, see where the hell he's gone. What the fuck happened there? Where did you go? Oh, you can't write this.
He's back.
Oh, he's back. He's back. We thought he had enough.
Fuckers cut me out. I knew you'd do it.
Cut you out at all. You just fell off the face of the planet.
I'm not getting into it. It's just one of these things that is stuck, lads, and it's going to stick, unfortunately. So,
for me, I said it all season. Some of them run well, some of them are just terrible, and it happened to a few of the English trainers last year. There was no real reason given for it. It happened to Nicky last year. Nicky didn't have a good season. You can look back in the winners he had, but he didn't have a good season like he normally would. And yeah, if we're going to question Paul Nicholls, who had a bad patch, but if you look overall throughout the season, he's going to be champion trainer. His strike rate's probably the same as it always was. It'll average out. But he did have a bad 6 weeks where his horses weren't running well. And if you're going to question one trainer, you have to question another. I think people think I don't like Henry. I don't mind Henry. I would question anybody that's not in form, and his horses haven't run to the ability that he has shown over the last few years. there clearly is something wrong with some of them. There's clearly not something wrong with other ones. But I would mark up the performance of the good horses, Absolute Tom and Honeysuckle, because they probably haven't shown any ill effects from some of the horses running bad. And surely they are affected, and it probably just shows how good the two of those horses are.
Do you think there's anything wrong with Gavin Cromwell's horses? He's got a 9% strike rate this year, and he went 120-something runners without a winner.
Yeah, he had a bad patch
up there. Like.
He had a bad patch before Cheltenham. They came back in form, and they're kind of gone out of form again. So
Willie was gone in November. Gordon was gone after Cheltenham. It's what it is. I think there's obviously been some kind of a virus at Henry's Yard, because some of them, have dropped off the face of the world. And, I don't think if there was anything he could do about that, I guarantee you he would. No, I don't think suddenly he's gone to be a very bad trainer, which some people will have you here, that he hasn't got a clue and you should give up.
But that's the thing. We're not saying that. You're making it out. You're taking it as we are.
You do hear that a lot. And are we going to be here next year at the same point going, Henry's still only got a 15% strike rate. He's only had 90 winners in Ireland this year. Do you not
think, just put it in general question, which does being asked a lot, and you see it on Twitter a lot. Do you not think he should have better results with the caliber of horses he has?
I honestly don't think he has the caliber of horses. Well, he doesn't have the caliber of horses that Willie and Gordon have. You watch the sales and look at those.
We're talking about the horses Henry has specifically. The likes of Envoy Allen's, the likes of, like, he has Indoor, has won this season. Absolute Tardas won this season. I know, look, Indo, right off that, he was winning Gold Cups and all that crack. But the likes of the kind of second tier horses he has, they're not winning often.
No, I think if you looked at say Indo, for example, he looks, nice comeback run, and then, I think if you go through some of them as well, like if you look at Indo in the King George, it was cutthroat. Like,
that was just a bad ride. I'm ready to admit that was a bad ride.
And I honestly think that has happened a few times this year, that things just haven't fallen right. But yeah, no, don't I? Like, if you go through the horses that Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott have, honestly, because that is who we're comparing Henry to now, and it's very, very hard to compete. He has been competing in the sales ring in the last few months. Actually, he's really gone out and spent proper money. And maybe I have no idea now, but maybe that's a thing that he said. Okay, I really need to go compete in the sales ring, because let's face it, he was getting well beaten. It's very hard to beat Gordon Elliott in the sales ring, and then Willie has the fantastic French connection. So I think Henry's competed very well the last few months. So next year will be interesting, but it's tough. It's tough to compete, lads, at that high level and consistently.
Go on, Dave.
The last thing I want to say about Henry anyway, and we said it last year when he got the Cheveley Park horses. I said, like, it looked like bad times for him when the Potts horses left Knockeen, and where do you go from there? And Gigginstown gave him some horses, he done well, and then he got Honeysuckle and so on and so forth. He is buying some horses, but it's when Honeysuckle, Laplo, Tom, Indo are gone. Like, he has Bob, but there's not a whole lot there coming through. So from what we've seen regards novice hurdlers, Journey with Me, I mean, he is what he is, but he's not going to be beating Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott horses. So it's in the next year or two, I wonder where Henry's going to go, because like Honeysuckle will retire, Absolute Tom will be that bit older, Indo will be that bit older. So it's the next superstar. Where do you find that from when it's hard to compete with Willie and Gordon and the money that they're spending? So
you do just hit a golden spell though sometimes as well. Like you look at Paul Nicholls. Paul Nicholls will tell you he's not training any differently than when he had Denman, Corto, Big Bucks. They all came along at the same time. Henry's got such a massive stable of stars at the minute. And, he's had a first and second in the Gold Cup and won the Champion Hurdle this year.
Yeah.
So he's had a fantastic year. It is tough to replace those horses. Poor Nichols found it immensely tough. He still hasn't replaced those horses. And when you've got 20 point-to-pointers or novice hurdlers coming through each season, and Willie and Gordon have got 50 plus, it gets even more difficult. So it's very difficult to break into that top. It's a top 2 basically. So.
Yeah.
But some of them haven't been running. I don't think I'm deluded now. Some of them haven't been running well, but I don't think it's just all of a sudden gone to complete pot.
It's not gone to pot. It's just in general that we think there's something wrong. For prime example, Largy debut ran, I think, a quicker time than Dysart Dynamo. Now I can run a quicker time than him. There's clearly something up with the horse. There's clearly you'd have to think into it like that. Even when Journey with me at Cheltenham, he looked like he was coming there to put in the big challenge before he fell, but he looked like he was coming to the end of his tether as well.
That's true. And another one is Eclat de Rire, who is straight off the top of my head. But I promise you, Willie Mullins has got 10 of those as well. You just don't notice because he's got 10 good ones. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, we're just reiterating that we're not calling him a shit trainer. We're just saying there might be something up with the horses.
Some of them.
Some of them. Now, move on to one that there's absolutely nothing wrong with him. He came from the depths of hell, Dave. Good old Gampa de Champs has now been christened the Black Dragon.
We're all going to agree here, lads. Finally.
Can you finally say, since Willie Mullins and Ruby said it, he'll get the Gold Cup trip?
Look, he's definitely a Gold Cup horse, and I've said a few times in the podcast that I think maybe it comes across as a bit critical at times. It is a bit critical at times of horses, Envoy and Sam Crow and so on and so forth. I tend not to get overly excited about novices until they do it in open company.
Wait for it.
I came up in the era of like watching Cotto and Denman, but he's the first horse that has given me proper feels that he could end up being a legit, like multiple grade 1 winner over 3 miles over fences. And no other horses in the last, 12, 15 years have shown me they can do that. It's the way he jumps, the way he travels, and the way he hits the line. It's nearly impossible to pull him up. Massimo Maxi, like, maybe the English viewers wouldn't know him all that well, but he's a good horse. He's a good standard of a horse. He runs to kind of same level all the time. He won a grade 1 at Limerick. He was about 5 lengths ahead of him, and without even being shaken up, it was 18 lengths at the end of the race yesterday. If I look at the race and say there's only 4 runners, again, that's fair enough. I understand that. But I honestly think he'll win the King George next year, and I think he'll win the Gold Cup next year.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been shouting from the rooftops about this fella since he won the Martin Pipe. He is a freak. He's something we haven't seen in many a year. His fall at Cheltenham was just his landing gear didn't come out. It was no fault of Paul whatsoever. He settled again out in front on his own. He jumped really well. He put the race to bed in a matter of strides, and the distance he put between himself and Master Maxi after the last was ridiculous. I think it was at the top, at the bend going back out, was the only time Paul could actually get him to stop. And you remember last year when, or it could have been the year before, when Ruby said when Envoy Allen won, he didn't like when he stopped after the line. A good horse, you cannot pull him up. And Ruby was right. And this thing is something out of the depths of hell. He is unbelievable. If he stays up, I can't see anything beating him.
Me?
Yeah, if you want.
You're so good at this presenting, Malarkey, of leading me in. I always like
to capture when it's the. Oh, go.
I'm like, has he stopped or hasn't he? I look, for me, I wouldn't read into the form of this too much. Master McShee is a solid grade 2 horse. River to Tell has been a good filly or a good mare all season, but she's had a long season and up to 2 mile 4. So from me, I don't really care about the form of this. I know from his form that he's a very good horse. It was all about the performance and the jumping, because what we've seen of him this year is he's been keen, he's over jumped, and for me, as I said after Cheltenham and stuff, that's not a Gold Cup horse. Like, that's not the mold of a Gold Cup horse. So I was happy to give him a chance to go and settle and jump properly and prove me wrong. And in fairness, he's come out and done it straight away. I thought this was his best performance. If you take it as a whole round performance, I thought this was his best performance yet. I thought he jumped absolutely fantastically. When he was spot on, he just went in and jumped them. He didn't need to go and give them air and all this. We've heard Willie come out and say, oh, that's because he was going too slow. He was giving them air. Well, that's worrying if you're going to run, if that's in a 2 mile 4 race and you're going to run 3 mile 2 in a Gold Cup. He didn't go fast here, and he jumped them absolutely perfectly. So that's that out the window for me. The only one he was a little bit high at was the ditch. He kind of stood off that and gave himself a bit of air. And then I said, this will be interesting now. We'll see if he starts taking off at them again. The next fence he came into, he was tight and he put himself right. And I actually loved him coming down to the last as well. Paul kicked him in the belly for it. And he said, no, I'm okay, thanks. I know what I'm doing now. I'm just going to get in tight and jump this. I thought it was a much more grown-up performance from the horse. And yeah, I can now see him as very, very much a Gold Cup contender. I'm not jumping off a Plutard just yet. But I can see it. I can see it now, to be fair. He jumped a lot more and travelled a lot more like a Gold Cup horse yesterday.
Yeah, and the thing that is really good about him as well, he's only a 6-year-old. There is argument that he could improve again next season for a summer on his back. He'll be going into the Gold Cup as a 7-year-old. Dave will love this. All the stats to be in his favour, Dave. Second season novice, right age, coming out of the Ryanair, or not the Ryanair, the whatever you want to call it these days.
Turners, whatever
it's called. But look, you can nearly write the season for him. It'll probably start somewhere like the Clonmel Isle. It'll be either Irish Gold Cup or King George. Then it'll be Dublin Racing Festival Gold Cup, Punchestown. He's a horse now. I think is going to take some beating next year. If he's all well and good, and look, he's a horse. Anything could happen to him, like the Monkfish. Something could easily happen. But look, he's one of the most exciting horses we have to look forward to next season anyway. Right, we will move on. Where are we going now? We are going to Brandy Love. This won't hurt because if this is the other way around, I would have been all over. But look, she showed her class, Tom. She showed that she can still cope with going right-handed. You can still see that jumping out to her left was an issue at times. But look, Paul gave her a lovely ride. Once he got her over the last safe and sound, she sprinted away from the field.
Yeah, fair play to them. I know these races kind of pick themselves when you're a novice, but fair play to them for coming back here. It's the last place I'd have wanted to come back to after what she did at Fairy House. And I don't like people saying it like when a horse has beaten another horse, but how good is Alarie Devassi? I'd say Alarie Devassi is all they think she is and more. I'd say she is very good. But look back to Brandy Love. Very, very good performance. She put it to bed a good bit out and ran all the way to the line. And I thought it was a top-notch performance, really. Love Envoy, the ground got a little bit softer for her. And she had her chance, but Brandy Love put her in her place. I thought Dino Blue ran okay. Was probably just beaten by a better horse, to be honest. A couple of better horses.
Yeah, with Dino Blue, Dave, look, you like her, and they changed tactics with her on Sunday. It was good to see her actually settle a bit and finish off her race. I think now that she's learned a bit more, I think they'll go a bit more with the forceful tactics. But with Brandy Love, look, she's fairly exciting. She gave Love Envy a good beating. There was no excuse from the ground. She goes on any ground, jumped well, was there with a chance. This could be a nice mare going forward. Yeah,
Brandy Love was good. She's a good engine. Just iron out the kinks and she'll be flying next year, I'm sure. But yeah, the one for me next year now for the mares will be Allegory Devassi. I know despite the jumping, but I think she would have beaten Brandy Love that day anyway, and she was favoured for the Mayor's Novice. Dino Blue, I still like. I think she's a nice horse, and cannot for the life of me don't understand why they didn't hold her up at Cheltenham. Would have given her a way better chance to finish her race off, and you see how close she was to Love Envoy then. So the run at Cheltenham was all wrong, but I don't know what Mark Walsh was doing. It was insanity, but there you go.
Mark Walsh, right? He either seems to give horses absolute peaches
Or terrible.
absolute terrible rides. I can
He's
never.
never in the middle.
There's no
I
in
watched him
between.
Sunday.
It's either wrong or it's really right. Like,
Yeah,
He's like,
I
oh
watched
my
him
God,
Sunday.
you're the next Ruby Walsh to, my God, how are you sitting on horses?
I don't know.
It seems to go literally one way or the other now. But
Right, move on to doing that. Look, we'll finish on the Irish National last. But Honeysuckle against Constitution Hill. Today, Nikki announced that it's not happening. The thing we're going to talk about is, like, it was the whole build up towards this. They were dangling the carrot out there saying, oh, geez, we're going to do it. And then Nikki comes out, was it yesterday at Haydock or Newbury, wherever he was, saying, look, we were thinking about it. We can't get out of our head that a novice, I can't remember what horse he said, ran in, was it Champion Hurdle, or not Champion Hurdle, some other hurdle, I can't remember what it was, but it was an open hurdle and he ended up losing his life. But he's not going to say he's bottled, and I know he wants to look after his horse, which is all well and good. I think it's the right thing he's after doing, because I thought it was a stupid decision if you want to run a novice. Look, he got all giddy and excited after winning the Supreme, and of course you're entitled to after you doing that. But to get a novice, Tom, to come off on the back of that, where you don't know how much that's after taking out of him, and go on and take on someone like Honeysuckle, would have been a bit of a stupid decision. Take Honeysuckle out of it, then it'd be more tempting. But it would have been a stupid decision. I thought it's the right decision, in my opinion.
yeah, look, it would definitely wouldn't be in my version of race planning to go and take on a superstar mare like Honeysuckle over here with a horse who's only having his third or fourth run on the track. That wouldn't have been my idea of the right thing to do. And in fairness to Nikki now, I think this was coming from Michael Buckley, the owner. I never felt that Nikki or Nico were fans of it. I think it was very much coming from the owner. And obviously, when your horse has just won at Cheltenham and the owner comes out and says, sure, we'll take on Honeysuckle, you don't really want to say, well, he's talking shite. We're not going to do that. I think it's taken a few weeks for it to die down a little bit, and then they've had a chat and come out and said it's not going to happen. But yeah, no, I'm actually glad he's not coming over, because he looks like a very good horse, but I think he needs a little bit of time to mature and grow up as well. So.
Dave, on that, like, we're you probably think the same thing, as if you're good enough, you're old enough. And we've put up a few novices, like you put up Coney Gree for the Gold Cup, and he was a novice. We've seen it done before. Do you think it's the right decision?
I'm all for if you're good enough, you're old enough, but Honeysuckle's a whole other level. She's like a horse that is a rarity, and we've not seen before. And I generally think she'll be Constitution Hill next year either way, and it'll probably sour him if he gets absolutely walloped or everything goes wrong. So it's probably right for the horse at this stage to wait. He's still quite young. He's only 5, I think. Let him run next year, and Nicky will train him for the Champion Hurdle. And Nicky's a great record in the Champion Hurdle, but yeah, I'd still be with Honeysuckle. I think of all the.
We were talking about anti-close prices there being gone, but this is the one I think the bookmakers have got totally wrong.
Yeah,
She's currently 72 and he's favourite.
I can't understand the price on Honeysuckle. A lot of the anti-post betting has gone to shite, but he's priced up on his supreme performance, and going by the times and all that, it was really very good, and the form was good. But I mean, Honeysuckle, she's going to get £7. She's never been beaten. She ups her game every time. She's come to the stage in her career where she's kind of only dossing around and beating what she has to beat. She seems to get better if there's a better race. she has never been injured and has turned up to every race she's ever been aimed at. You know she's going for the champion hurdle, and she's nearly double the price of what he is. I think it's a mad fucking price.
It is like, even like Tom, you've alluded to before, and a lot of times it's very hard for novices coming out of novice company, coming into open. Look, and he is favoured on the back of a supreme win, but he will need to go out and do that again against a better caliber of horses, and she's going to be the best horse he probably will ever face in his life. And for him to be currently 2-1 favourite, her 72 it's madness in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had the price that way around. And as we've done this so many times with novices who look like superstars, and they go and take on those open horses, and they find it so hard. Like, there's countless horses and examples of it. Now, I'm not saying he's going to, because he looks very, very bloody good, but you know, appreciate it. I know he hasn't had a good run at it this season, but you know, he looked an aeroplane in the Supreme last year as well, and you know, he came out and didn't run very well in the Champion Hurdle. So that's just this year. There's so many examples. Envoy Allen is obviously the clearest one of them. Sam Crow is another. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're doing the right thing anyway. Talking of the races and the festival, though, have you seen there's going to be a review for the 5-day festival?
I didn't want to talk about this, but we're going to talk about it. Go on.
No, I don't agree with
that. We have no say in the matter. They see the pound signs, the euros, they see 5 days, they see a couple of 40, 50, 60,000 people turn up on a Saturday, all they see is pound signs.
It's 100% going to happen. No matter what we do, it's going to happen. I'll still drink Guinness and back horses on the 5th day, even though I don't want it to happen, and so will everybody that's in the horse racing. And it will absolutely dilute the racing a little more, and there'll be even more fields with barely any runners, but we'll still watch it all, and we'll still celebrate, and we'll go. Now we have 5 days to back anti-post rate horses on, and so on and so forth. But it is a pile of shit.
It's diluting a good product that we have. It's not for me at all. As I said before, the only way I would be in agreement if they just did add those 2 extra races, and they capped the crowds at like 50,000 a day. So you could actually go there and enjoy the racing. But they're not going to do that, are they? They came out and said it's not a monetary thing, but it is a monetary thing.
Absolute bollocks. They're charging people £90. They get inside the place before they even have a bet. That's the biggest load of bollocks that's ever come out of their mouth in their life.
I can't see it as an extra 2 races and all that. I think it'll be 6 races on Saturday. It'll probably not 7, but there'll be 6 races on Saturday. They'll find them somewhere.
It'll be 6 races and then a charity race at the end of it. They'll make the levy work.
I hope they don't do that. I do think it is all about the money. No, I don't believe that it isn't for a second. Now, in saying that, I do just want to say, obviously, we had Alice run in Cheltenham on Thursday. She came 3rd, ran very well, but they treated us fantastically. They accommodated us with owners' badges. After she'd ran, they brought us up to the Royal Box. Free champagne, free sandwiches, free cakes. Watched the replay of the race. Absolutely top-notch service from Cheltenham. It's like no other. Like, there are lads there saying, you know, this is literally one of the best days of my life. Like, to have a runner at Cheltenham, to get looked after like that, it's absolutely fantastic.
Jesus, I never got this kind of bring me to the car, did I? Oh, me.
I haven't been on since you brought me to the car. Andrew.
Too late now. Let them give you a little badge and bring you for free champagne. I wine and dine you and I get nothing.
Andrew put up with most of my family at the car, in fairness. He looked after us all well. We had a great day. My stepson Callum has actually got to experience. He's been racing 3 times. He went to Limerick with us once over lockdown. And his only other two occasions, are hospitality at the Curragh and a runner at Cheltenham. So, as I said, it's all downhill from him from here. But no, the Curragh were fantastic as well, though, in fairness, though, weren't they, Andrew? Looked after us very well.
We're going to Punchestown next week.
Yes, I can't wait.
Come on!
It's been 2 years since we've been there.
Oh, I can't wait.
Next week.
Yeah. And he's driving up, and the second he starts driving, I'm going to drink Guinness out of a cannon. I don't care.
It was this day.
No, I won't. I take that back. I'm not going to do that.
It's like this week, 2 years ago in 2020, when the lockdown was on, and we were like still trying to convince ourselves Punchestown was going to go ahead.
Remember them days? Oh my God.
And then they were 2 years removed, and we're going, can't get COVID because I already fucking have it. Come on!
Oh, hotels booked, tickets are in the bag, suits are ready. Oh, we need those a few winners.
And the highlight of the week, lads, we're off to see Zoff.
When we going to see Zoff?
Friday morning. He's gone again.
Andrew's gone. We're going to see Zoff on Thursday or Friday, one or the other. Haven't worked out what works best yet, but yeah, we're off to see Zoff. That should be fun.
Maybe he's completely gone. No, he's back.
No, he's back.
He's no sound though. Can't hear it.
No. Can't hear him at all.
Hear me now?
Yeah, it's low, but we can hear it.
Okay, I'll put it closer. Yeah, Punchestown next week. Happy days. Tom also told us he was going a day that he's not going now, and so we just ruined our plans. We changed our plans for him, and then we have to change them again.
Why?
Because we usually go to Mace on Wednesday, and we're going Thursday because you were coming Thursday.
It's not like this never happened before. He said you're not going out anymore.
You're not going out.
I am. I'm going on Thursday, lads.
I literally texted you about the bus, sir.
You said no.
No, I said I don't know what's going on with that because I have people coming with me and stuff. I don't know about the bus, but I'm going on Thursday. Yeah.
How are you going to get there if you're not on the bus?
Haven't worked it out yet.
So you getting the bus then?
I could end. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm definitely there on Thursday, and I'm definitely staying in your hotel Thursday night. So.
Oh God. Anyway, what's last? Oh yeah, we one more left. The Irish National. Lord Lariat at a good old 40-1. I'm proud of that graphic. Gets the job done in gritty and good. Oh, excuse me. Good fashion. Where's the fucking runners? Who was second? Bear with me. I think it's slipping slow now.
Front of the Salt was second.
Front of the Salt was second.
Screaming Colours, fourth. Early Doors, fifth. And Velvet Elvis, great name, was sixth. Carnage, Dave, from start to finish. Good watch, good finish, and good result for local trainers.
Yeah, first and second. We're out first and second basically the whole way around. They were swapping positions the whole way around. And a lot of fallers. It's bound to happen when the field is that big and they're all in close proximity to each other. But same trainer as last year, another unfancied horses, and his horses have run well all weekend. He's had winners, a lot of winners, and a lot of horses run well. So fair play to him. He can clearly train them for the specific time of year and day. So well done.
Yeah, with good result, Tom, all around.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember this getting stuck into this favorite, the winner. Sorry, I was looking back when it was June 2020. They originally did some job with this horse, lads. They gave him 3 runs in Maiden Hurdlers, 3 runs in Chases, and he had a handicap mark of 93 over hurdles, and he came out and won twice at Tipperary. I remember getting well stuck into him the first day, and then because of the way they'd handicapped him, he only had a mark of 100 over fences. So he came back. He actually got beat at Punchestown off a mark of 100, and then he won at Fairyhouse off 105. That was less than 2 years ago. Like the way horses can improve after a bit of time, after a bit of racing. I'm telling you, it's you'd be very surprised. I think sometimes the way they can improve when they learn how to race. And yeah, he's gone and done it very well. The jockey got him into a lovely rhythm. He jumped very well, travelled very well, and stayed very well. So fair play. Jockey's from just up the road, trains from just up the road. And one of the owners is from Clare, who looked to be having a right good time for himself. And he said they bought him as $5,500 over in Tattersalls, which is over the road, as they said. So, yeah. Now that is a fantastic story for a national winner.
Look, there's always a story attached to him. Oh, Dave's gone like Casper the Ghost again.
You fucking back.
I come to my world. Look, we touched on a few of the others. Galliard Mesa, look, he's coming out of the challenge 2 hours, plowed into it. Look, probably wouldn't have beat the winner, but Dave, you were a fan of this horse. That was probably his best performance of his career so far.
Yeah, he jumped well until the second last. He looked like he's probably going to be the winner until then, and I think it knocked the stuffing out of him, and maybe he just didn't quite stay as well as the winner in the second, but he jumped well, yeah. Not a bother on him.
And he doesn't like winning though, Dave, does he, that horse?
No, he doesn't like winning, and
it's hard to win when you take the second last fence with you.
He got 4-11 this year.
The maddest thing about that horse is he walloped Galloping the Champ at Dublin Racing Festival last year in that 2 mile 6 hurdle, and they just have taken complete opposite trajections since then.
Yeah.
So
can happen.
Yes, my arm is a bit sore. My back is killing me.
One of
the guys just said, "Why is Dave warming up like he's ready to come and bowl from the pavilion end?" I've
been grand by boredom, and the last 2 days I've pains in my muscles and back like I never felt before. So
it's called old age. Welcome to the club.
Sitting here now like this is killing me.
You know what it is? It's an abuse of the body for the last few years, and now it's all catching up with you.
Somebody actually said in the comments there about going off abroad to watch Cheltenham. I spoke to one of my good friends about that last week, and we were saying we'd nearly do it, whether it's next year or the year after. But when you weigh it up, you can go and you can chill out. You can watch it in a bar. You get cheap pints. You can go out for dinner then in the evening. You've got nice weather. Makes a hell of a lot of sense.
I don't know if you get the same atmosphere that you get, like, say, Alfie's or somewhere like that in any pub in Ireland. I think you'd lose that.
And Kubo's coming over here next year, I've heard now. 100%.
He's bring the missus with him, pretending it's Fortaventura.
Poor chap. If you bring the kids out to Tremor in March. Cuba, I was in Fuerteventura this year and it was crap.
There you go. Problem solved. You're staying in Ireland.
I think you've got to find one of the proper like racing pubs though, like abroad and stuff. There are a few of them.
You know what it's like? That's like going away for Christmas to Australia or somewhere. It's just not the same.
I just don't want to go to Cheltenham, to be honest. The way it is. So.
Go to the pub.
Look, it's 11 months away, and I can't wait to be sitting in Alfie's on that Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning again, and that's a fact.
Correct.
So on that note, Dave.
On that note, we're going to finish with our eye catchers of the week. 3 of us have picked one horse each, and Dave, you can go first.
I like the way Santa Rosa travelled in her race. I think I dropped back down to 2 miles, and she'll probably win a decent race. Just wasn't good enough to outstay the Rasso.
You go next. You go next, Andrew. I just want to stat on my one.
Mine ran in a 5 furlong maiden at Newbury on Saturday, and it's David Lonigan trained Commander Starker. Led from the front. It was a good maiden. Hooligan Hoon by Andrew Bolton has been touted up as a Royal Ascot horse. He looked like he was going to win a good furlong out, drifted a bit to his right. he is one that I think will have a good future in sprinter races. Good big sprinter. So I will be keeping an eye on him going forward this season.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get dogs abuse for this one now because of Henry from Head Trained Horse. But
full-time score.
What?
Full-time score.
No, Belle the Lioness, who won the bumper at Cork today. I thought she did this very, very well. She was dropped in last by Davy Roach, and just coming down towards out of the back, he literally passed the whole field. He got to the front, traveling well, and kicked on, and she won by 5 lengths. I think the form is pretty strong. There's some nice mares in there. The second is after winning 3 point-to-points. She ran in a point-to-point there at the back end of last year, which I'll find now. Yeah, at Balta in December. The winner was sold for 160 grand. The second has come out and won a point-to-point then, and then has been second in a bumper for Christian Williams. I think the form is pretty strong, and just the way she did it, she doesn't look over big. She's only 4, but in fairness, there's one thing I don't think we'll row with is Henry doesn't get many bumper winners, and when they do win bumpers, they're normally fairly smart. She's by Soldier of Fortune, and yeah, I think she could be one definitely for the notebook. The Dam is a half sister to Monolly. I knew there was something else with her. Yeah. So the pedigree is there as well. I think she'll be a very nice mare.
Can't argue with that at all. Spain wants to know when is Punchestown ticket giveaway is closing tomorrow. Winners will be announced at 12 o'clock. All you have to do is go on to the Hollywood Bets Twitter page, the Hollywood Bets UK and Ireland Twitter page, and look, I'll play the video. It's better than me explaining it. So that's when it's happening. So the winner will be picked out tomorrow. I will be sending all tickets then on Wednesday morning. So if you win, you need to get your address, your obviously home address, in on when we contact you on Tuesday, so I can send them all out Wednesday morning. And someone just touched on something there, Tom. We never mentioned the highlights of your life. You got the leg up, Rachel Blackmore. Have you washed your hands yet, by the way?
Oh, I went from very excited to very, very nervous to delighted with myself and keep composure as your mother's like, ah!
You didn't seem excited at all with the 100 times you texted us about it. That didn't seem excited at all.
It's like, hey, Tom, how did you feel about Alice? Lads, did you see what I just done?
I've got there were a few videos came out first of people recording it on the telly. Because I didn't know, but the racing TV camera is literally right behind me. So yeah, I got a few different versions of it. But yeah, when Rachel Blackmore looks at you in the paddock in Cheltenham and says, "Do you want to give me a leg up?" Wow, yeah, lifetime ambition there, lads.
Well done.
I say it just needs to be my name on the race card now, and we're well away, aren't we?
Well done, Tom.
Proud of you.
Thanks, guys. And I didn't fuck it up. I was like, I'm going to throw it into the horse.
Imagine if you gave her too much welly. Whoop. Oh, I just broke Rachel Blackmore's leg.
I did that to a flat jockey in Tremor once. I didn't realise how light he was. He literally was like 3 feet over the horse's back. He nearly went over the fence. I was like, oh my God. Don't do that again. Don't do that again. And then I was there going, I'm going to fall over. I had to put my arm on. I had to hold Zoe because I was like, I'm going to fall flat on my face. I was petrified. I was absolutely petrified, but it worked out.
Tom punted jockey in Tremor.
I did. It's some flat jockey. I was like,
you carry your up over the horse.
Nat can't do it because he got asked to do it once, and he took him about 8 attempts to get Dickie Johnson on a horse. And as he said, I've just got a mental block that he said I can't do it. So yeah, I was very happy that I didn't manage to screw it up.
Well done. That's one you can stick on the CV.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jamie Moore. It's Josh Moore who got a bad fall on Saturday. I was talking to Jamie yesterday. He's heavily sedated. He doesn't need an operation on his back, which is good news. He broke his femur, he broke his ribs, he punctured his lung. Yeah, he's in a bad way. Look, he's not having any luck the last few days. But look, he's
had some rough time of it, lads.
Broke his back on operation on his back the middle of last year, and took a heavy fall on Gleno on Saturday. Look, even if you go back and watch it, I watched it today for the first time. He fell, and then by the time he was bouncing back up, Gleno was coming back down on it, and he's kind of, if you're bent over like that, he hit the whole top of his back and crushed him down. So it was an awful. I'll send it to you, actually. I have it on my phone.
I would not go and ride a horse again if you paid me.
Yeah, well, look, he's all in all, he's going to be okay in the long run, but he's in a bad way.
And Bryony as well has got a fractured vertebrae in her back after that fall at Cheltenham.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, best of luck to her as well.
They're all made of different stuff, jump jockeys. They're absolutely mental in the best way possible. Right, is that everything? No cool, but it does not include flights and hotel. New Man United manager. Let's turn in. Welcome to the Goal Line podcast. I don't think Harry Potter can fix Man United right now, so I couldn't care less.
Nope.
Terrible.
Gandalf couldn't even fix.
Who?
Gandalf.
All right. On that note, we will finish up. We are back on Wednesday with another weekend preview, and we are back next Thursday for another weekend preview. We are going to the Punchestown launch night up in Nice.
That'd be nice. What time does it start?
You were in England, so you lost out.
Not another thing I'm not invited to. Thanks, lads.
I only got 2 tickets. I see, can I get you one? If I can get you one, do you want to go?
You have mates like
He
you.
won't go. He does this all the time, and then I can't go.
It's on 7:45 at night.
Where is it?
I'll tell you now. 1 second.
It's near Punchestown.
Is it okay? So, is it a dinner? Is it just drinks? Is there a hotel stay included? What's going on here?
Canopies and a couple of drinks. No hotel stay. You have to go home after. See, I told you.
See, he wants everything. He literally wants everything.
How can we know cracker? You can have one glass of champagne, a smoked salmon canapé that I don't like, and chat shit to some people, and then have to go all the way back home again.
It's in Barberstown Castle.
Oh, that's quite nice, actually.
Wait, I can talk to shit to people in the castle. Mother of the divine God. So we're going to do a Thursday. We're going to do our weekend preview, and then either the Monday or Sunday we'll do the Punchestown Festival preview. Probably do Sunday. Yourself and Dave, we're getting our hair clothes ready. Clothes ready. Well, anyway, on that note, we will end this, and we will see you again on Thursday for another weekend preview.